This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 393 of the Stable Scoop Show. Auditor, Ruth McCormick, and Avoiding Procrastination, plus Flex Seal. Please support our sponsors as they make this show possible.
Our sponsors this week are Uncle Jimmy's Brand Products and Clarion Lexington. Auditor Ruth McCormick is our listener of the week. Nick Snap does his first tip on avoiding procrastination. And our Tack and Habit segment, we have Flex Seal. Listen in.
Welcome to the Stable Scoop, with weekly shows delivered right to you. With Helena and Glenn the Geek, live from the stable, it's every week. They'll bring you the news through hail or high water, while using their tails as their own fly swatters. So sit on down and laugh till you poop, cause it's time again for Stable Scoop. Stable Scoop. The Stable Scoop. Stable Scoop.
This is Glenn the Geek.
And this is Helena B. And you're listening to the Stable Scoop Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network.
Well, it was so good to see you last week, Helena. It was fun to have you down here in Florida and the gang. Your whole gang was here.
The whole gang was there. I had so much fun. I've never worked so hard and had so much fun at the same time.
I apologize for the weather. As soon as you left, it went back up to 80 degrees, but
I think
it was a little nippy when you were here.
I think it should be me who apologizes for the weather. You know, the last time I went down south to visit somebody, it was like deep in the heart of South Carolina and it snowed. So I think I might have.
You're the jinx.
With me. Yeah. Sorry about that.
We had this nice thing they planned on the beach at a beach bar for Friday night, and it was freaking cold. I mean, it was like 50 degrees and windy.
Yeah, this was not cold by Florida standards. This was cold by New England standards.
It was like, pretty chilly.
We had jackets on, and I was like, "This is not fun."
No, they even had fires going, but the fires were whipping, and it was
an awesome location, though. That was a really, really cool place.
If it had been like 70 degrees, it'd been perfect.
Yeah, even if it was 5 degrees warmer, it would have been perfect.
It was a beach bar. It was right there by the city. It was really nice, but oh well.
I have to say, I was really impressed with Tampa.
Oh, really? Yeah? You got to tour it a little bit, and I know that Buck and Grace got to go around and do different things. It's kind of a neat little city nobody talks about.
It is totally a neat little city nobody talks about. It's easy to get around. It's built on a grid, so you make a left and a left and a left, and you're back to where you started. You know, it's difficult to get lost. The street signs are well marked. The buildings, there's some tall buildings, so it feels like a city, but it's open and airy. Of course, it's on the water, which is totally charming. I was really impressed.
Yeah, it is neat. I get to go down. I go down about every 2 months for the meetings for the Florida Podcaster Association. Is right near where we had the conference, actually. So we got to go down there. But it was nice. We got to do a little cheesecake factory, which is always good. And
that was awesome with Wendy, Dr. Wendy, and Kyle.
Dr. Wendy was there. Heather was there from Women in Rodeo. You got to meet Heather. Jennifer was there, of course. So we had 5 hosts represented at this podcasting conference from Horse Radio Network, and made quite a splash. I can't tell you how many. And I think everybody in the building talked to me at one point or another over the weekend. But I can't tell you how many said, I met one of your hosts. They're all so nice.
Aww.
And I said, oh, are you sure they were ours? No, I said, yes, they are.
Thanks a lot. Everybody was really nice. So that was one of the things that I've been in software and IT forever. I've been to more conferences than I can count. This was one of the most, this was one of the best because it was big enough where there was a wide variety of people who had something to share, but it was small enough where you could access those people. So the opportunities for learning were very accessible, and the quality of the people and the knowledge I was very pleasantly surprised. This was really an impressive group.
It was, and a couple of my friends from the podcasting world now, Dave Jackson from School of Podcasting was there. He's one of my favorite. We got to meet Danny Penna, who does a show. And the only reason we're talking about this, guys, is you're listening to a podcast, so we know you're a little bit interested in podcasting. But Danny Penna, who does Gamertag Radio and has done it for 10 years, is one of the, well, he just got hired by CBS Radio to do the gaming show over there. So he's kind of a big deal. And you missed his keynote, but his was really good on the first day. And then, I
sat with him at the roundtable discussion.
Oh, so did you? He's a neat guy, isn't he?
Some good back and
yeah,
forth.
he's, in a different world than us, hip hop and gaming, but boy, he owns that world. Let me just tell you, when he does meetups, 10,000 people show up, literally. He has to do meetups now in stadiums. These are his listeners.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so that's how many people show up, because the gamer world is just huge. And they're all addicted. So
it must be so funny for somebody to be like, "Hi, who are you?"
Yeah. So it was, and then you got to meet Katie, one of my Katie and Chris, who run that show, and I just love them to death. And Katie did a really nice job with her Facebook talk on Saturday morning too.
Extraordinarily valuable. That was one of the presentations that I took copious amounts of notes for.
So I'm glad you got to meet all these people, and they got to meet you, so they know who you are.
Well, as you say, Glenn the Geek, it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Okay, now be honest. How was my keynote? Everybody's been hearing I was doing one. Now you have to be honest.
I was so proud of you. I was really surprised that you could gather your thoughts together
for an hour
in such a logical and powerful and meaningful way. I really was. I was very, very impressed. Like, you started out with you grabbed my attention. There was that amazing video of Scooter.
Which, by the way, has now just gone insane.
Well, Scooter's a star,
Scooter now has over 110,000 shares on that video. It has gone up almost 100,000 since the weekend. I don't... Millions.
We got to find out. We got to find out how that started.
I don't know where 0.0 was. Who found it again after it's been sitting around for 2 years and shared it. But I thank whoever did that. So, Scooter is now the most popular pony in the world.
And his keynote speech opened with that video of Scooter, and it was so rewarding to hear the gasps and the applaud at Scooter's journey. Which I don't know how many minutes is that clip, Glenn? Like 2 minutes.
2 minutes, yeah.
2 minutes. So you completely captured an audience and got them emotionally involved in Scooter's journey with just that. And then your keynote speech, you had them. You opened with Scooter, and then you had them for the rest of your speech. You shared a lot of very valuable lessons that, you and I have experienced firsthand over the years.
Well, it's funny. I couldn't have done it without any of you. And that's why I had you guys at the beginning and introduced you, because I wouldn't be here today without you and the other hosts. But, and it's so funny too, because Wendy said something interesting to me, Dr. Wendy from the driving show. She said, we always see you as the goofball, sort of self-deprecating guy who's on the air. But she said, then I got to see you in business mode. And I do have a business mode. And she said, I got to see you in business mode. And it was so different to see business mode.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the listeners would probably be shocked too, to see that side.
Yeah.
But there is that side, or we would not have grown to the point we are.
No, I've seen you in business mode a couple of times, especially when we go to the trade shows, and we've done some strategic collaborating from time to time. But this just was,
I missed the stage too. People forget I did that for a long time on stage. And I missed the stage and the immediate feedback. That's the one thing we don't get here, is like, we don't hear people laughing, right? We don't hear people not laughing. We don't get either one of those. So you don't get that immediate feedback. And then just looking at people in the audience. So I do like that. I do like getting on stage every once in a while and doing that, even though it just totally freaks me out before I start. Jennifer's like, this is a mess. Now I remember why we quit doing acting. Every time before you go out, you're a mess. And I used to have a strawberry daiquiri before I went out. Every show, that was a requirement.
Yeah?
But they had to have a strawberry daiquiri for me, a large one.
You're so funny. Strawberry daiquiri. Most people would have I needed a shot of bourbon or whiskey.
No, I need my strawberry daiquiri. I think it was a combination of the sugar and the alcohol.
Yes.
But anyway, I didn't have a strawberry daiquiri on 9 o'clock on Friday morning.
You didn't need one. You had your signature cowboy hat, and you did a fantastic job.
Well,
we were all very proud of you. It was really cool to have, half the front row full of Horse Radio Network people. It was great to have.
Yeah, that was neat. And anytime I needed a little boost, I always look down at you guys. So that was cool. Well, let's. One of the things we did over the weekend is we met a lot of cool people, and as Helena said, podcasters tend to be outgoing, so it's a very chatty conference. You don't have a lot of introverts in the podcasting community. So we got to meet a lot of cool people, and one of the ones that impressed us both was Nick Snap, and he has a show called the Make It Snappy Show. And he just started not too long ago with this show, but he's kind of a productivity expert. So one of the things, and you've met a couple more too, that I think that we'll be able to incorporate into our shows, because some of what they talk about in their shows applies to horse people. Let's face it, horse people face the same problems that other business people do.
Horse people are just regular people turbocharged.
Exactly. And with a passion that actually, in a way, makes them less productive in their normal lives.
Well, wait a minute. It's the horses that make us less productive. We could be totally snappy, as Nick would say, out of the barn. But as soon as we get into the barn, all bets are off. So it would be nice to take some of these productivity tips and bring them into our barn. Whether or not our horses will cooperate is to be seen. And
that was he was one of the guys that impressed us both. So we said, well, we're going to get him on once a month to give us kind of a productivity tips for life. This is about your life now. And, no matter what your job is, we all know that horses take up time, and that takes time away from getting things done at home, right? So we're going to chat about that once a month with Nick Snap. So let's say hi to him. Well, hi, Nick. Welcome to the Stable Scoop Show.
Well, thanks for having me, Glenn. I'm happy to be here.
It was so good to meet you over the weekend in person, and we were both very impressed, which is why we said we had to have you on a show.
Oh, you make me blush.
Well, and I'm so glad that you agreed to do this once a month, because we all need help in the productivity world, no matter whether you're in business for yourself or you're working for somebody else. We all have horses, we have barns, we have houses, we have kids, we have life, and, it's just hard for horse people to get it all done and be productive. So I'm so glad you're here. Tell us a little bit, how did you become a productivity king?
Wow, that's the first time I've been called the productivity king.
Yeah, I just promoted you.
Thank you. Yes.
Just own it, Nick.
It's good to be king. Well, how did I become the productivity king? Okay, well, I am not a naturally productive person, believe it or not. And I became very adept at productivity kind of out of necessity. When I was working for corporate America, I spent about 14 years working for Fortune 500 companies. And there was a time in my life where I got basically moved to a facility that was 60 miles one way from my house. Ugh. And when that happened, I said, I'm committing to still going home from work on time. When everybody else is working crazy hours and with a long commute and everything, I said, I need to figure out how to go home from work on time. So I started developing my systems to be as efficient as possible. And I was a machine when I worked at this particular facility. So with that process of developing those different systems and with my engineering background, my skill set and my background lies into going into manufacturing facilities or different corporations and figuring out how to find those hidden money, or the hidden money that people don't necessarily see right off the bat. So how can you take different processes and make them better? Well, through a process that I went through from becoming or the process of being a consultant, realized that wasn't all that great for my family life, because being a consultant takes me away. I'd be gone for 4 weeks at a time. So when I started my business last year, I got a rude awakening. I said, I don't want to be away from my family. So how can I take the skill set that I've had with manufacturing and Lean Six Sigma and all that kind of stuff and provide and translate that to personal effectiveness? So that's what I've been doing for almost a year and having a blast doing it. I love productivity. I think that all that Lean Six Sigma stuff can be applied directly to how we do things in life.
So one of the things that caught my attention while we were sitting at the roundtable discussions, Nick, was that you were taking this corporate perspective, or a very formal, official productivity process, and applying it to your family life, which you have kids, I have kids. It's pure chaos at times, and you really just need to keep your head on straight in order to keep your family alive, honestly.
That's right.
So going from this very formal environment to a very chaotic environment, what was the first thing that you said, all right, I'm focusing less on my consulting clients, less on my career, and more on my family and personal life? And what was the first thing you decided to tackle in terms of productivity?
Well, I was when I started my business, I actually was going to be a consultant. I was going to go into different facilities and make them better. So I had to do a pivot very shortly after I started. About a month after, I realized that this wasn't for me. So when it came to personal productivity, I was going from a mode of going out of the house and going to somebody's office or facility to now I'm at home. So how do I become productive as an entrepreneur, which is a completely different paradigm than being an employee? So the first thing I realized as an entrepreneur is that I need to understand my systems. I need to break them down into their component parts. So what do I need to do to move the needle forward in this new mode that I have? So it really took a lot of just thinking about the best way to do my job and then breaking those systems down and figuring out how can I get those tasks accomplished in the least amount of time possible. And then how can I focus on the right things? So when it comes to productivity and anything that we do, I believe very, very strongly that if productivity isn't rooted in purpose or vision, then there's absolutely no reason to be productive because you're just going to be spinning your wheels. So once I had my vision very, very clear, and I did that through my own coach. I got a coach when I was out in LA working on this big project, trying to help a credit card manufacturing facility get their numbers up. When I was out there, I realized this wasn't really my deal, but just not necessarily the work. The work was great, but just being away from my family, I found a coach. And through that process, I really got some clarity around what my vision and what my purpose was. And once I had that clarity, it was a lot easier for me to figure out what I needed to do.
Now, when you started your show, and we have a connection here too, in that Neil from Wild Style Media is our editor of our shows.
Yes, Neil's the best.
Yeah, he is. He is really good.
Love him.
You got to meet Neil for the first time over the weekend, Helena.
I love Neil. I'm going to adopt him as like my big brother.
And Neil, we're not just saying that because you're hearing this and editing the show.
That's right.
Well, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a little. Yeah, he's not going to lower
maybe
our
the
rate.
blooper reel will be more about Glenn next time.
If we give him a big head, he's going to raise our rate. So Neil, you suck. So Nick, he actually helped you get your show up and running. It's called Make It Snappy Show, right?
The Make It Snappy Productivity Show. Close enough.
Okay. And of course, I can guess what it's about.
Probably.
Yeah. So how often does it come out?
I do shows once a week, but to be transparent, I'm getting kind of hooked on this podcast thing, so I've been peppering in some bonus episodes every now and then. So
that's what happens, by the way.
I like that he calls it a bonus episode, Glenn.
Yeah, that's what
we
happens.
We should do bonus
you
episodes.
Get hooked and then,
it's like an extra treat.
Yeah, just what I need. I do 80 episodes a week now. I just need to do bonus episodes. So, Nick, let's talk a little bit about our topic for today, and that is avoiding procrastination.
For sure. I love talking about that.
Go ahead. You're on deck. You're up.
All right. Well, there's a lot of different reasons people procrastinate, but if you break it down, for me, the most prominent ones, there's 4 of them. So the first one, and I'm sure if you're really, really into horses and you get into an area where you're a little bit outside your comfort zone, you have the issue of you may not know necessarily how to do something. So if we're intimidated or we think the task is too difficult, our natural reaction is to blow it off, right? We'd rather go take a ride on our horse,
right.
or then force ourselves to sit down and struggle with something. So for this stuff, I go back to and kind of put it in like a corporate thing, right? It's like when you have a problem, what's your problem statement? What's your opportunity statement? But in layman's terms, for people that really want to speak non-corporate stuff, it's like if you're trying to figure something out, first question is, what does success look like? What does that outcome look like? Whatever you're trying to accomplish. Because if you just have this huge task ahead of you, like, I don't know, create a website for example, then that could be a whole number of things. But if you don't have a vision for like what that website needs to do, then you can't just start because you'll be spinning your wheels and you're getting frustrated and you'll spend a lot of time on Facebook. So for me, that's the first question I ask. And the next question, it's so dang simple, but for whatever reason, it's just not normal for us to think about these things this way. The next step, once you figure out what success looks like, is what is the next logical step? You know, we tend to think of these things holistically rather than breaking them down into their component parts. So if you take the time to think about what the next logical step is, then the task that you may not know what to do, well, at least you know what the next step is that you need to do, and you can build momentum off of that. So I have an example, if you want to hear it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Bring it on.
So I've started this new topical-based series format for my show. My show's been around for, it's been about 2.5 months now. Launched on Christmas.
You're just a puppy.
I am. I'm such a puppy. in more ways than one. But, you know, I put a new show on every week where we hit the topic of the month from a different angle. And this is all new. So whether it's bringing an expert on whatever the topic is related to productivity, obviously, talking through the concept with my partner in crime, my beautiful wife, Nisaj, and what it means to our family, our careers, or whether it's I'm actually doing coaching of a client on air on issues related to that topic over a 3-week period of time. Listeners would typically have questions about the topic, and I want to help them answer those questions. So our goal for the show, or at least this 4th week of the month, if you're looking at it from monthly, kind of a series-based thing, is to give the listeners a very super easy way for people to record themselves and submit the recording to me through my website or easily through social media or something. So we can collect the questions audibly and then include them in the episode and answer them on air. Now, Glenn, I'm sure with all your experience in Helena in the podcasting world, something like this is like a piece of cake to you. But for me, I didn't even know where to start. So had I not broken this thing down, it would have seemed like a really daunting task, right?
Well, I got to tell you, Helena is better at the just, get started with the first step. I am one of those that looks at the whole thing and goes, oh, crap. And then Helena goes, oh, well, let's just see where we're at and where we have to go from here.
Sure.
And then, once you take that first step or two, then it gets easier, right? That task all of a sudden comes into focus and you can get it done. But I am one of those people. I am super guilty at that. I am great at ideas. I am so good at ideas. But then, and they're good ideas. But then once I get that good idea, I look at it and go, oh, crap, that's a lot of work.
Yes. Well, Glenn, you have this big picture. So the idea often comes as a big picture and it's exciting. You get a sense of the big picture because you're focused on the idea. But then when you sit down and think about how you're going to execute on that idea, then you realize the scope of what you're looking at, how big that big picture is. And I think what Nick is saying is you need to break down, you need to compartmentalize your picture into smaller, easy to digest components. And then, you got to start it go. You have to start with that first little yellow brick.
Now, is that before or after I freak out about it?
That's after you scream at me. Say,
Okay.
Freak out. Everybody needs their freak out time. And
I mean, am I even close, Nick? Is that kind of
you're definitely close. You're getting into more like if you look at like a project management perspective, it's called a work breakdown structure. You take all these big buckets and then start breaking up to little buckets, and that's how you manage a complex project that way.
But you're right about procrastination.
Sure.
What you're saying is that if it's a small task, you're less likely to procrastinate than if it's this big, huge thing that just is eating at you.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's true.
Because small tasks are typically easier and less, scary. But it's the big ones. It's just like, okay, even if you haven't taken the time to break it down first, the first thing is, okay, well, what is this thing? For me, the voice thing, I mean, it took me not even 30 seconds to think about what I needed to do next. And it could have been, hey, I called Glenn and Helena and asked them what to do. That could have been my first step, send you a Facebook message or something, right? And that's not all that scary.
Our
but for me, it was,
have been.
It would have, yeah. But for me, I went to the Podcasters Hangout and I said, hey guys, this is what I'm trying to do. What do you recommend? And in probably 30 seconds, I received an answer and I said, oh, go to this website. Oh, there's a little widget. I'll install the widget. And before I knew it, it was done. And that thing that I had no idea how to do, I just thought about what to do next and it got done. So
did the inspiration, like you said, kind of knowing why you're here, the reason that you're about to take that next step, does that help you overcome the procrastination?
For sure. Knowing why you're doing anything gives you incentive and motivation to to move forward. So if it's something that I said there was 4 different reasons that people procrastinate. So one, if you don't know how to do something, then it's like, what's the next step to figure out how to do it? So if you had a complex project like you were talking about, Helena, it would be, okay, now I need to take the time to go open up either my computer or a piece of paper and write down what are the main pieces of this project. Like that's the next step.
Okay.
What's that next logical step? But other reasons that people break down and procrastinate is that sometimes it's just a lack of interest,
Motivation is what my wife always says. If you're motivated, you'll get it done. If you're not motivated, you're going to put it off. And apparently every horsewoman that I know is not motivated by cleaning their car. That's just saying.
Unless it's to make room for that extra saddle.
But again, there's the motivation, right? That's what's to fit the extra saddle and all the extra horse crap in, then they'll make a little room.
Yeah, if you bring it back to horses and you figure how it's related, then there'll be a lot more motivation.
That's right.
If there's a lack of interest or it's boring or you don't feel like doing it all, then I would honestly, my first recommendation would be to just don't do it. Find some other way to get that done. Delegate it or outsource it. It's not always
tried
possible.
Having kids. Has that worked out with helping get things done?
As having kids does not help get things done at all. And I can't exactly outsource that parenting thing. So
I've tried.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
You can. It doesn't always work out.
No, not in the long term, maybe the short term.
Although, there's a lot of barn moms who do outsource their kids. They just drop them off at the barn and pick them up like 8 and 9.
That's what happened at ours. We had 25 teenagers after school every day.
That works for a little while till the trainers catch on, and you're all done.
Well,
barn moms, I need to dive more into your show and get a visual of a barn mom. I need to know what that really means.
Just sign one of your kids up for horseback riding lessons.
Yeah, you'll know.
And you'll get the quick tips.
And then just hand over your wallet to the people that do the horse riding lessons, and you're good.
That's all it takes.
Yeah. Don't procrastinate because they're going to take your money anyway. So don't worry. It's all going to go. Well, right. Nick, we're going to have to let it go there. We've run out of time, but we want people to go over and listen to your show. It's makeitsnappyshow.com is where you'll find it, makeitsnappyshow.com. I assume you're in all the usual suspect places, iTunes and all over the place.
I definitely am.
All right, good. And you can find more information about that on his Facebook page and other accounts at makeitsnappyshow.com. Nick will join us on the first week of every month. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you. Thank you both. I had a great time.
Well, coming up is our live Road to the Horse coverage, Helena. We are going to be providing the only free live coverage of Road to the Horse, and you'll be able, I think, to pay for a video feed if you want to see that. But the Horse Radio Network is providing a free play-by-play of Road to the Horse. We're going to be doing a total of 8 hours live from Road to the Horse in a couple of weeks. Mary Kitzmiller and I, who Mary has competed there, she's competed there twice now. So she's going to be the expert. I'm the fluff. And that's all going to start on March the 18th, 19th, and 20th. We're going to do an hour and a half the 18th and 19th, Friday and Saturday. And then Sunday, we're actually, for the first time, going to be doing live coverage, 4 hours, play-by-play of the finals that happen on that day. It's never happened before. They've never had anybody provide the live coverage like that before. So we're going to be doing that. We're so excited about that. And of course, when we stay in Kentucky for no matter what we go there for, whether it's Road to the Horse or just visiting friends, we stay at the Clarion in the hotel in Lexington. It is one of the best places to stay for a couple of reasons. One, your rate includes a full breakfast buffet every morning. Free Wi-Fi, free airport shuttle. You're literally 10 minutes from the Kentucky Horse Park. You leave the driveway, make a right, make a left, and you're there. No highway. It's all back roads. You sneak in the back way so you don't have to wait in the long lines coming off the highway exit. It's so good that way. They have a great restaurant, and I wanted to tell everybody next week we're going to announce the date and time for the listener meetup. I know we have listeners going to Road to the Horse. We're going to do a listener meetup at Cortland's Country Kitchen one night. That's at the Clarion, Lexington. Mary and I will be there, so if you want to stop by and say hi, you can. I recommend getting there early. Mary likes bourbon. They have a bourbon bar, and I'm not sure what shape she's going to be in because I've never seen Mary drinking. So,
well, you can sip bourbon like a lady.
Mary is a cowgirl. I'm
Okay,
not
fine.
sure. She sips her bourbon like a lady. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll find out. I'll let you know. I'll give you a report. But that's all going to be happening, and we're going to make that announcement next week on all the shows where exactly the meetup's going to be and what night. So hopefully you can join us there. We'd love to see you. And you can find more about the hotel at ClarionHotelLex.com. ClarionHotelLex.com for your next trip to Lexington, Kentucky. Well, coming up next, play the music, Neil.
It is the year of the listener. And now, our Stable Scoop listener of the week.
Up next, we have a longtime listener and one of our favorite fans. Okay, you're all our favorite, but Ruth is pretty much our favorite. Auditor Ruth McCormick, and she's from New Jersey. Welcome, Ruth, to the Stable Scoop Show.
Thank you very much. I'm so delighted to be here.
You get extra points from being from New Jersey.
I do.
Yeah, because New Jersey people are very cool.
Well, thank you. Not everybody says that.
Well, Helena had a lot of friends in New Jersey growing up. So
Yeah, I grew up right over the border, so I spent a lot of time in New Jersey. And, not a lot of people talk about New Jersey in very nice ways, but there's a lot going on in Jersey.
It's overall a really good place.
It is. It is. So welcome to our show. You've been listening for a long time, but I think this is the first time you've been on Stable Scoop. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
We'll be kind to you for the first 5 minutes. After that, all bets are off.
But Helena, I think
Okay.
she was one of our earliest listeners.
I know.
Weren't
She's
you, Ruth?
been with us for like years and years.
Yeah, I think that I joined pretty much at the beginning of the 2010 WEG show, and I think Stable Scoop was maybe 6 episodes. I don't remember what the difference, but how earlier Stable Scoop started, but I know it wasn't a long time before that.
That's
Well, we're glad
that's
that
going
you
back a ways.
Yeah, we're really
I
glad you
know.
stuck
I
around.
can't compete with Rhonda, though. Let me just get that on the table right away. I've not listened to every show. I think for a while I had, but I fell behind when Horses in the Morning started. for
What's
sure.
wrong with you, Ruth? Keep
I
up.
don't know. I had one of those jobs that interfered, among other things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That-
paying the bills.
that
You got to
work
feed
thing.
these horses that we have, right? They eat. and their food costs little money. So we ask our guests a couple of questions, get a little history and background information about them. And you wrote to us that you were the only person in your family who had a relationship with horses or who was horse crazy. Tell us about how you got started with horses, how you were able to overcome a family who wasn't really interested to spending basically your life with them.
Well, when I'm an only child, and I don't have any clue where it came from, but I started asking for lessons, and we didn't have very much money. So for my birthday, I get 5 or 6 lessons. Now, keep in mind that cost $30 at the time, not per lesson, for 5 lessons or 6 lessons. So, and then I'd run out of money and stop riding. And I told you guys that I found recently a photo of myself in a playpen when I was less than 2. And over the front of the playpen, there is a book, like a coloring type book with horses in it. So, and I'm positive that was mine, not the other little girl in the playpen, because I never understood her. She only wanted to play with dolls, not with horses and build stables and all that kind of thing. So clearly it must be genetic. That's all I can guess. I have no other, I will just say there must be, when they get further along discovering all the genes, they'll find one for horses.
Okay.
I think
See,
you're probably
thing-
right about that, too. I think horse
Yeah.
girls have a separate, is it a chromosome or a gene? They have one of those.
You don't think horse boys have that too?
I think
Yeah, they do.
yours is bigger. I think
Oh, maybe. Could be.
It's
there's
bigger
2 of
or
them.
more
I don't know.
prevalent. or
Yeah,
more
exactly.
prevalent. But
Yeah. I would
it's-
also,
go ahead.
when I would get to go to camp sometimes for about 10 days, and it was the only time in my life I ever voluntarily got up at, say, 5 o'clock in the morning to go help muck out stalls. So I had it bad when I was a child.
You sure did.
Yep,
And
that's
then it
that
went away. I
motivation
didn't even-
thing.
Yeah, I packed it away for a long time.
Well, this is now let's score another point for only children because I too am an only child. And it's funny because as an only child, I wouldn't say that all only children are spoiled necessarily, but we do have the unique advantage of being able to choose what we want to do because our parents don't have to spread the wealth of activities, dance and sports and all that stuff. We have, I think, greater opportunities to dive into something that we're passionate about or to explore more of those things in order to find that thing we're passionate about. But what I find interesting about you, and the same thing happened with me in my childhood, was I really wasn't interested in exploring anything but horses. Like, I was like, yeah, dance, that's cool. I'll go if you want me to, or,
Right.
I'll try this other thing here. But like you, it was like, mom, can I have horseback riding lessons now? How about
Yep.
now?
And I think
Right,
she
so-
would have liked it if I learned to play the piano better. But I really wasn't. I took some lessons, but I really wasn't. It just wasn't what I was interested in.
Now, I wanted
Go
to
ahead,
say
Glenn.
here too that you're retired now.
I did. I retired a year and a half ago.
And what'd you do for a living? So you grew up and you went out into the big bad world. What'd you do for a living?
I was like a human resource director for a large company based in New Jersey, and my job kept getting bigger and bigger, and it was starting to interfere with my writing. I'd be too focused and tense at the end of the day, and I finally realized that I could figure out how to make it work, and my husband was supportive, so I quit about a year and a half ago.
Wow.
So my job was great. I totally enjoyed it at the time, but I don't really miss it.
Every woman listening's now going, my job gets in the way of my writing, and I can't quit. So-
Well, just keep squirreling it away so that eventually you can.
I met you guys at WEG, didn't I, for the first time, 2010?
Yes.
That's
yes.
right. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now,
Actually, I should tell you how I
Yeah.
got married under false pretenses.
oh,
My husband and I got married a long time ago, and 40-ish, let's say, maybe over 40, but I won't go there. Anyway, and I had the horse obsession totally packaged away. I mean, he knew I generally liked horses, but he had no idea until a friend right before I turned 40 said to me over New Year's, as a very close friend, the kind that always asks those questions that you really have to answer and think about. So she said to me, "What have you done for yourself lately?" And at the time I was working in Manhattan, working a lot, enjoying it. But I said to her, "Did laundry count to the what have I done for myself lately?" And of course she made a face because that's not a very good answer. It's just funny. And the thing was, the minute we had the conversation, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And literally the next week, I went over to the local stable and started riding. And 6 weeks later, I was riding twice a week. And 6 months later, I was riding 3 times a week. It was just like somebody opened the box and let me out, let my horse obsession out. And life hasn't been the same since.
boy,
That's how it happens.
Yeah, that happens to so many of our listeners too in their 40s, right, Helena? We have a good number of listeners that have gone back to riding in their 40s, especially women.
You have a certain amount of life experience under your belt at that point, and you realize that your time here on Earth is not infinite. So you better start doing those things that are good for yourself. And she's right. It's like someone turned a key and unlocked a door that you've been working behind furiously. You worked in the city. That's like, my God, there is just no rest. So I'm sure you're commuting back and forth across the river, right? That's a job in and of itself.
For a long time.
That'll take the life out of you. So when you do finally sit in that saddle for the first time, if it's once a week, an entirely new conversation begins to happen with yourself. And it starts out like this. Oh my God, I need to do this again tomorrow. and then you have to wait a week and you sit in the saddle again. You go, oh my God, I have to do this again tomorrow. And eventually you get closer and closer to doing it tomorrow, right? You went from once to twice to 3 times a week.
Well, it was President's Day weekend. I had a day off. I had to go again.
Yeah.
That's right. Because there was a day.
Yeah.
Now, I don't get where this fell in the order of things. Did you marry Father Mac and then this happened, or did this happen before Father Mac?
No. We've been married about a good 15 years by the time it happened. More than
Okay.
that.
And I have
He had
another
no
question
idea that I was,
that's been bothering me for 8 years. Is I grew up Catholic. I think Helena might have too, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up Catholic, and none of our fathers were married. So, and I know he wears a collar because I've seen him wear a collar. So, what's the deal with Father Mac?
Oh, he is a Lutheran pastor out of a small church in New Jersey.
Okay.
And the church, the part of the church that we grew up in, the clergy wore black and wore their collars typically. Not so much now, I guess, except for Mac does. And so he has a lot of, like, he's taught at Fordham University, which is Jesuit, but he is a Lutheran pastor, so he has a wife.
Got it. Okay. Now I thought maybe he got a papal, dispensation or something. I didn't know what was going on.
No, he doesn't have one of those. I think that there have been a few of them, but he's not one of them.
Okay, just checking. Well, hi, Father Mac. He has sent me over the years some of the most he gives me way too much credit because, Helena, after we did a certain show on a certain topic, he would send me the most thoughtful emails about that topic. And I would think to myself, he has just thought more about it than I did and even preparing to talk about it in the first place. So, it's just...
Well, what he does, he tends to do pretty thoroughly, so there it is.
There. Well, now tell us about your horses.
Okay, so I try to have them one at a time, but there's been a couple times one time I had 3. I have a warm blood mare named Joy. She is almost 19, and we do dressage. Pretty good some days, and we don't show, so we are more the serious schooling types who look like we're probably planning on going to show, but never happened to go. But 6 months ago, I moved to a dressage barn, so life's been a little different because now I'm trying to ride 5 days a week, and we're more on a program than we were before. And we were on a program, but it wasn't as consistent as this one is in terms of the number of days a week and all. So it is a lot of fun. I'm at a barn. I'm sitting in a barn of Pan Am gold medal winner.
Oh, that's not too shabby.
No, not too shabby at all.
It's a Westphalian, right? Mare.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't heard of it.
I started. Yeah. Well, they're all the German, the different jurisdictions within Germany. They just all have their own stud books. So that's what Hanoverian is. That's what Oldenburg is. That's what was. There are like 20 of them. But I started with an off-the-track thoroughbred named Greta Garbo. And actually, Glenn, somehow, I think you need to know that her registered name was Jailbait Baby.
Oh, God. How did that ever get through the guy we talked to at the office over there?
No idea. But her first owner after the track renamed her. So, and I've had 2 others. If anybody wants to know why they shouldn't buy a 4-year-old warm blood when they're not that experienced, tell them to talk to me.
I want to know about the Frisian Appaloosa.
Oh, he's very cute. He now belongs to somebody, a friend of mine, and is retired. He was actually the owners won a breeding at the Midwest Horse Fair to their Appaloosa mare, and they bred a couple of these, and they were both registered as Apps and as Frisian sport horses. They were cute. Not the most forward, but cute.
Yeah. Bert is not forward either, but he's kind of built. Yeah. He's beefy like a Frisian, but of course he's happy. Not the most forward, but comfortable and cute. Yeah,
right.
Comfortable and
cute.
His
name was
be
McFlurry.
Oh,
so why do you call him McFlurry?
Well, that was his name. I guess he was very spotted, and he went to. They went to McDonald's the next morning, and his father was a Frisian named Flurry, who was at stud in Wisconsin, where he was. But anyway, they went to McDonald's, and the McFlurries were on the menu.
Wow. Okay,
So he
that
was
makes sense.
from the Stallion Flurry.
That's a good name, McFlurry.
That's
I
cool.
like that. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
better than like McNugget. That's not such a
Exactly.
good name. Yeah. So now one of the things I know about you guys, because I follow you on Facebook for the last 8 years, is that you guys get to travel to the most amazing places. Is that because you just want to, or is it because of his work, or?
So that's because I have a bad travel itch. Let's say I want to go places, and horse sports turned out to be something we're both interested in from the perspective of being spectators. And about 20 years ago, we went to the World Equestrian Games in The Hague as part of another trip we'd planned. And we always kind of figure out everything ourselves and book it as cheaply as possible, but managed to go to Europe or England or somewhere once in a while. But anyway, so we went to The Hague for one day. What a tease. I'm like, why did I ever think I could be happy with one day? Because I wanted to see more. So anyway, so after that, most of the time we've tried to make a vacation out of going to the World Equestrian Games. And
Cool.
then Mac met some people along the way who then, like Mary Phelps from Horses Daily and
Sure.
Dressage Daily,
Sure.
who
Yeah,
he's
cool.
written
Very cool.
he's written some columns for, and he eventually got his journalist kind of card in the International Association of Equine Equestrian Journalists. So he goes and kind of looks at it from the spectator end and tries to find interesting things to write about, which he does. So we've tried to go to almost every set of games since then, and the World Cup if it's here, if we've been able to afford it. So that's one of our. I guess that's officially probably a hobby of ours. And he's met a lot of interesting people. He knows way more interesting people than I do. So,
Well, you know us.
You know us.
He used to tell me things like, I just had lunch. I know exactly. I know you. When he come back, he said a long time ago, I had lunch with Robert Dover. I'm like, well, good for you. You don't know me from a hole in the wall. But anyway, it's great. It's great. It's been terrific to have him interested in what I'm interested in.
One of the cool things as being a journalist, we don't consider ourselves journalists, but we kind of, have to travel in that world because it's where we fit the best, is you do get to talk to the coolest people. And, I haven't mentioned this on the air yet, but since we started to do the Year of the Listener, our numbers are up 20% here on the Stable Scoop show. I think, one of the things that Helene and I have always loved is, one, meeting listeners, and two, is getting to talk to them on the show. So this year, we just talked about it before the show started today. We look so forward to doing this episode now because we get to talk to you guys. It's been a highlight for us this year. Just wanted you to know that.
Absolutely.
Well, and I love it as a listener. One, it made me catch up instantly on all this if I was behind. And now I look for, is it out yet? And we're all so different, but we all have the same passion. It's great.
What do you, before we get into the rapid fire questions that we end with, what do you think is the best benefit of being an auditor?
Well, first of all, this is pretty cool, talking to you all. But secondly, the Facebook community is really great. It's the only one that I'm in that has that, well, first, a level of activity that it can be hard to keep up with, but it's pretty compelling, and it's a real community, and people try to help each other. It's just a lot of fun.
Since we started the show, I haven't talked to Helene about this, but since we started doing the Year of the Listener here on Stable Scoop, what was it, 6 weeks ago? Maybe 2 months ago, Helena?
Mm-hmm. 8 weeks ago.
Yeah, we have had more people sign up for auditors wanting to be a part of that community than we did in the last 6 months of last year. We're just getting them almost every day now, and I'm glad that more and more people are getting involved because it really is a cool community. And if you want to do that, it's really truly as little as $1 a month. If you like what we do, just head on over to stablescoop.com. There's a big banner right in the middle of the page. Are you ready for the rapid fire questions? Are you ready, Helena?
I'm ready. You ready,
All right,
Ruth?
Let's do it.
I am ready.
We should have music plays in the background. Doom, 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 doom.
Ooh.
Oh, well, give me a couple weeks because I'm garage banding it out,
Oh, that's right.
I'll
You're going to be an
something.
expert here pretty soon.
all my new techie friends in the Podcasters Hangout are like, what's up, Helena? You need some help? We'll hook you up. All right, here we go. Rapid fire questions for my friend Ruth. Ruth, what is your favorite all-time food?
I can't believe no one has said this before. Chocolate.
Yay! I like it, Ruth.
She's right. I can't believe no one said
Yeah,
this
that's true. I
before.
thought that'd be everybody's, actually.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I like most everything, but I had to think of a favorite.
Yeah,
and it would be
chocolate.
dark chocolate, so I'm not really all that discriminating if somebody gives me another form.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was my next question. Dark chocolate or milk chocolate? I'll take chocolate in any form,
Chocolate
but
cake, chocolate pudding, chocolate ice cream, chocolate anything.
chocolate anything. Now I want
Yeah, they're all
chocolate.
good.
I'm sitting here at my desk in the studio, like I can't get up, and I want chocolate. Literally, my mouth is watering. So let's remedy that.
Yeah, we'll
What's
fix that
your
right now.
What's your least favorite food?
Ripe olives.
Oh, I love ripe olives. The black ones
Well,
from the can.
they're the only ones I don't like. I like almost all the others. I just don't like those black
I'm
ones.
going to really make you sick. Are you ready? Are you ready? Is there a bucket handy? Because you're going to need it. My brother drinks the juice out of the ripe olive can.
Ooh.
Whoa,
Well, that's a fact. That is a fact we didn't know about you, Glenn.
Yeah, no, my brother does that. I don't
that's
think
pretty gross.
Yeah, that is pretty
That's
gross.
pretty
No,
gross.
we didn't know that you had a brother who.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I mean-
yeah.
I'll have a dirty martini every now and again, and I ask for it a little extra dirty because real olive juice is good, but that stuff in the can is like, is that even food?
No, I don't know what it is, actually.
Okay.
It's black water.
It's black water. Oh my God. And I'm not hungry anymore. Okay. Ruth, what is your biggest equestrian pet peeve?
People who come to the barn for their hobby and spend their time complaining.
Woohoo! You nailed that one on the head, girl.
Wow.
Oh my God, we owned a boarding stable. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like,
Yeah,
you
no
get an
kidding.
hour a day. Don't spend it whining.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Your control issues at home.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a
Okay,
good
that's
one.
a good one. Do you have a favorite professional or celebrity equestrian?
I had to think about that because I have a number. I decided, so that's not what this person is most famous for, that my favorite is Queen Elizabeth.
Oh, good for you. She's certainly been an advocate for a lot of years.
Yeah, and she loves animals.
Yeah, she loves her horses. God, she's still riding. She's
Yes, she
like
does.
90, 100 years old.
90.
And her little scarf.
Yeah, and her little scarf, right? Right.
She doesn't wear a helmet though. We gotta
I
point
don't
that
think
out.
That's
Yeah,
what
I
I
don't
meant. She's like, look how kind of important she is to her all her countries, and she's riding with no helmet. But
I
there it
know.
is.
You tell her that, though. Okay, you go ahead and tell her. I'm not telling her.
Yeah, me either. Maybe Monty could tell her.
Yeah.
You know what? I think Monty's going to leave that one alone.
Yeah, you know what? I've seen Monty ride without a helmet. So there's two that play that game. All right,
Yeah,
let's go
turn
on.
around. Okay, so what career other than one with horses would you like to try?
I think that I might like to be a home stager. I do like to watch HGTV.
A
So
home
some-
stager, were you going to people's houses before they sell them and make them look good?
Yeah, and move it around. Like get rid of this, move this around, paint this wall this color, whatever. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's very cool.
That's a first.
Yeah. All right. So a home stager.
But since I retired, I really don't want another career.
You really
So
don't want to do
not.
anything.
No, that's
I want
good.
to show up
Enjoy
at the
your
barn and
retirement.
ride almost. I want to show up at the barn as many days as I can and ride.
Okay. So you're a professional retiree. That's cool. That's cool. And I think you're a very good one. If you won $1 million tomorrow, where would you go on your vacation? Now you like to travel, so you've been places, but where would you go if you could go tomorrow?
Probably the Spanish riding school in Vienna.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one, too.
Okay. Gosh, I want to go there now. I want to eat chocolate and I want to go
Yeah.
to Spain. Wait, the Spanish
I'm
riding school
working
is in
on-
Vienna.
Exactly. How logical is that?
Okay, so wait, what is this? March? It's not going to be very warm there now, though. You don't
I
care?
don't care.
All right.
No.
It's inside. It's okay.
I know it's inside. I want to go
Bring my
ride horses
clothing,
on
I'll
my
be fine.
vacation.
Yeah.
Ride on the beach. Describe yourself, Ruth, in 3 words.
There's,
I'm a problem solver. Except 2 words or one anyway.
I don't know. You said
I'm hard
first,
work-
so it's problem solver.
And I'm hardworking and I'm resilient.
Okay. That was a few more than 3, but I like it.
Yeah,
so
but we got the gist.
bing,
Yeah.
you're accepted.
Oh, thank you.
What's the most terrifying thing you've ever done, and would you do it again?
I thought about that. So that means voluntarily. I've cooked lunch for someone who wrote food columns in the New York Times. And I would say that was on the verge of terrifying before. And it needed to be a really simple lunch, so it wasn't anything fancy. It was just, it was tuna fish sandwiches. But they weren't good bread. They were, but it was just the mental idea that this man wrote cookbooks and published that was terrifying. And I would do it again. It was fine, but it wasn't, again, it wasn't high French cuisine.
That would be like riding your horse for George Morris. That's what that would be like.
Oh, but he was way nicer than that. Oh, my gosh, yes. Now we have all those quotes in our brain.
Yes, that's right. All right,
Yeah.
go ahead,
He'd be
Helena.
like tennis lessons. He'd be like tennis lessons for her.
That's right.
Okay. If you could have just one superhero power, what would it be?
It would be nerves of steel while I'm riding.
Nobody has said that one yet either. You're just picking out all the ones that nobody has said. That's a good one.
Well, that's what Jerry said, but I hadn't thought of it myself. So there it is.
Yeah, Jerry came up with a really good one. I
Yeah.
thought about that, like
Kind of a version
out of
that
my
one.
horse radio life.
Yeah.
So that's got an impact if it comes into my brain outside of when it's actually required to be present. Okay.
One more.
What are we doing again?
One more.
Oh, my ADD is just
Your
so
horse
bad.
could speak.
What single question would you ask him or her?
I would ask her what I can do to keep her well and comfortable.
Oh, that's so nice.
So sweet. Ruth
And
McCormick.
What if she said feed me too much? What if she said feed me cookies?
What
You
if
would
she
do it,
said,
wouldn't
don't
you?
ride me anymore. I mean,
Yeah, then you'd be devastated.
Yeah. You might want to rethink that
Yeah,
question.
maybe reword it. Remember, never ask a question you don't know what the answer is going to be. So
I know, and
Yeah.
which is why I didn't say, what do I do to make you that makes you crazy or something like that. I would be like, I'm not asking that question. I don't want to know.
there's two people you don't want to ask that question: your horse and your husband. You just never ask that question because you don't really want to know the answer, right? Because when it comes down to it, you're not going to change what you're doing, and the outcome's still going to be the same. So, Auditor Ruth McCormick, thank you so much for joining us as our listener of the week.
Thank you very much, Alina and Glenn. It was
It
fun.
was a pleasure having you.
Hello, folks. Uncle Jimmy here, and welcome to the world of Uncle Jimmy brand products, where funny names mean serious products. Featuring Uncle Jimmy Squeezy Buns, the squeezably soft hand treat that your horse will love. The award-winning Uncle Jimmy's Hangin' Balls. Uncle Jimmy's Sugar-Free Ball. The incredible Licky Thing, also in sugar-free. The amazing Uncle Jimmy's Pecker Wrecker. And the Big Licky. The infamous Uncle Jimmy Hangin' Ball was first designed by me for my own horses to help reduce the bad habits which come from stall boredom. It now can be found around the world. This nutritious, flavor-filled boredom buster will help keep your horses occupied and happy around the clock. Properly hung, it will last for weeks, provided you don't let your horse pin it, and Uncle Jimmy knows who you are. The ball comes in 4 flavors: apple, carrot, peppermint, molasses, and now sugar-free. Once again, welcome to the world of Uncle Jimmy's brand products, where funny names mean serious products, and satisfaction is 100% guaranteed.
Well, our Tack and Habit product of the week this week is something a little bit different, but Jennifer and I have tested it. It's an as seen on TV product, Helena. Yes, for $19.95, you can have two Flex Seal what are these called? You can have 2 cans of Flex Seal.
You can't even say it.
I
That's
can't
how
even say it.
excited you are.
Let's start over. For only $19.95, you can have yourself not 1, but 2 cans of Flex Seal. And what does Flex Seal do? Well, I'll tell you what happened. We bought this new used horse trailer, And it
So
it has a fiberglass roof, a clear fiberglass roof, so it lets light in, right?
Yeah.
Well, one of the horses, apparently, for the people who owned it before us, decided to rear up, smack the fiberglass roof, and put this like 4-inch hole in the roof. So it had a crack, split out different directions, and it was literally leaking like a sieve through this hole in the roof. So we bought it that way, and Jennifer's like, well, we got to fix that. We can either spend, it was almost $800 to have a new roof put on.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And she said, I saw this stuff on TV, and it's literally where she saw it, called Flex Seal. So she went on Amazon and looked up Flex Seal and found it on there, and they actually make it in clear and black. They make it in white. They make it in colors. I mean, it comes in all different kinds. It's an aerosol can. You get it in the mail. We got it in the mail, and we were like, okay, we got to see how this works. And you clean the area. You like wipe it off with alcohol or something. And you clean the area you want to do, and you spray it on, and it grows. It becomes this, it's like a caulking almost, except it's waterproof and weatherproof and all that. And it's a rubber coating is what it is. And it grows just a little bit. It doesn't grow like some caulkings or some insulation that I've used in the past where you spray it on and it grows like 10 times.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that. It's only like 1 or 2 times. But it is rubberized. So what happens when it comes out of the can is it turns to rubber. So we sprayed it on the hole and used almost a whole can on this hole at the top, on the top of the trailer. And we used clear because we didn't want to use black. It's a clear roof.
Yep.
And we sprayed it on there, and within another day or two, it dried. It has to dry, and sunshine's actually better to dry it. So we let it out a day or two, and then we had a hard rain. And it still leaked a little bit, but not like before. And not anything like before. So it says if that happens, you just spray a second coat. So that's what we did. We just sprayed a second coat. I think we used about 1.5 cans. And you get 2 cans for $19.95. So we sprayed it on there, and it does not leak at all now. It really works.
Wow. As you're telling this story, I'm thinking about all the holes in my house I could use it for.
Actually, this is what it works on. Skylights, gutters, downspouts, flashings, windowsills, pipe, PVC pipe, roof leaks, hoses, chimneys, ductwork, foundations, awnings, and RVs and campers, trailers, and so much more. So It works on everything. I mean, it works on anything. And it really does work. I was very impressed with this. We had a very hard rain then 2 days after we put the second coat on. Not one leak at all.
Nothing.
And the other thing is it leaked up where the roof met the front of the trailer where it's rounded, and there's a seam there where one of the uprights are.
Yeah.
It leaked a little bit, just drips in there. It was coming in around the seams of the roof. So we sprayed the seams on both sides, and now it doesn't leak there at all. It really does work. This stuff is good. So Jennifer said, well, the fiberglass on the top from living in Florida is getting flaky. Fiberglass kind of wears out.
Yeah.
And it gets flaky from being in the sun. She said, we're going to take and get the clear, and we're going to spray the whole roof.
Oh, God.
So that's what she did. She ordered 6 cans of this stuff.
Oh, my God.
She was out there on the ladder one day, and I tell you, she got high because this stuff, it smells like rubber.
It's got stuff in it, stuff.
And I got high just holding the ladder. But she wanted to do it. She was all set on spraying the roof, and she did. And I'll tell you what, it's great. There were tiny little pinholes in it too, and those are gone. This stuff really does work.
Oh my God. Now, will it cure and everything? So it's not going to be like your horses aren't going to get all high.
Like hard rubber is how it cures. It cures. No, the smell goes away after, a couple hours.
Okay.
But it cures like hard rubber. That's how it cures. But the neat part is because it's liquid, before it cures into this rubber, it seeps into any holes or cracks.
Okay.
So, and it's watertight, flexible, rubberized coating is what they say. So I highly recommend it. If you have a hole in a gutter, the big hole is developed in a gutter, you just spray it on the inside of the gutter, clean it out good, take alcohol wipes and wipe it down, let it dry, and then spray it there. It'll seal up your gutter holes too.
Well then.
So there you go. There's my unusual product of the week, but we tested it, and I think it works.
I love it. I want to go try it.
What's funny is a lot of people gave it crappy reviews, but we loved it. I don't know.
Why did they give it crappy reviews?
Oh, some people said it didn't work and, that kind of thing. And I think they probably did it wrong. Didn't read the directions.
Yeah.
And you have to be certain temperatures to put it on. You have to read the directions, people.
Yeah, like it can't be 20 degrees out
Right.
and you're fixing your pipes
cure.
with it.
That's right. It's not going to cure. But so far, we've had lots of rain since then, and it's definitely worked. And it really is $18.99 for a 2-pack on Amazon. So I was sort of joking, but not.
But not, yeah.
$18.99. And if you order today, you can get an additional 2 cans for only an additional $18.99.
Oh my God, I can't even. I can't even.
Right,
I'll buy a can because I got holes. You live in a 260-year-old house. You get holes.
You got holes. I'm not sure this is going to help your 260-year-old house, but you could try.
Well, see, I would be the kind of person who would try it on my foundation.
Okay, yeah, you can't fill a 3-foot hole with it. It's really meant for pinholes and cracks.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Anything above about 2-3 inches is not going to work.
That's fine.
Yeah, you need some serious help then, Helena.
Well, we know I need some serious help, but and it's not going to come in a can.
All
right. So it is the, what is it called again?
It's called Flex Seal, and we'll put a link to it in our show notes at stablescoop.com.
Perfect.
Well, for details about today's show, go to stablescoop.com. And to find Helena, you can find her at...
You can find me, you can send me an email. My email address is helena@horseradionetwork.com. Or I'm busy working at Sparkle and Boom to pay the bills. You can always reach me through my website at sparkleandboom.com.
Be sure to log in next Friday for another great episode and another listener highlight. We're really enjoying those this year. We love your feedback, so be sure to drop us an email. If you'd like to be highlighted, actually, Ruth sent us an email. And said, I want to be on the show. So we got her on right away. We put you to the front of the list. So if you want to be on the show, drop us. As a matter of fact, our last 2 have sent us emails. So send us an email. Send it to helena@horseradionetwork.com. You're liable to have it read that way. Send it to me. I have no guarantees.
This is true.
So many thanks to this week's sponsors, the Clarion Hotel, Road to the Horse, and, of course, our friend, Uncle Jimmy. We're done, Helena. That's it.
That is plenty, but there will be more next week. Until then, happy scooping.